Welcome to Dialed In on the Virtual Care Journey with Jeremy and Becca, your trusted companions in navigating the ever-evolving landscape of virtual care.
Hi, welcome back to Dialed In on the Virtual Care Journey, the podcast with DialCare. We're here on episode 5. Today you have me, Becca being one of your hosts. Jeremy was unable to join us today. We're gonna miss him, but we're gonna have a great conversation. Today I have Farah Bakshi with me, our clinical director of our mental wellness program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So Farah, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into the mental health space.
I grew up in Oklahoma, and in Oklahoma it was a small town and there wasn't a lot of access to any type of mental health treatment. And so when I went to college initially I was going to be a nurse, and then I kind of pivoted to doing therapy, counseling, because I knew that being in a place where you need mental health, there's not an access to it. I decided that would be where I wanted to go.
Where in Oklahoma are you from?
Durant.
Okay, so for those of you who aren't from the Texas, Oklahoma, or know people that are OU fans up in Norman, Durant is like a little map dot town as you're driving north on I-35 from Dallas to Norman to Oklahoma City. So
there's a casino. It's well known for the casino there.
Or you could go gamble, which might not be great for everybody's mental health. But I can definitely understand why that has a demographic that probably doesn't have a lot of resources for mental health, and I can see that being a need.
Very small town mentality. So even accessing mental health or getting mental health is kind of like cliche when I grew up.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the joys of when we add in technology and different aspects. Do you think you see those communities being well serviced with a digital footprint?
It's made like a huge difference to access to mental health, because before you have one person in an office in a small town, that's your only option for therapy. A lot of people wouldn't even want to go because they would think the neighbors would see or someone would see. Having access to telehealth has made it to where people can get therapy without even like worrying about who's going to see, what they're going to see. You're going to be able to access a wide array of therapists, people that you will match with.
Yeah, and we always joke, you're not going to see them in the wild. No. Like it's the fear I think you have. It's like, oh, I'm going to see this person at my church, or I'm going to see them at school, or my mom's going to know them, and do I really trust this person to keep my information confidential? So I think that's a huge aspect of the program.
Absolutely.
So outside of why you went into mental health, what are some of the areas that you specialize in today when working in the mental health space?
I mainly specialize with kids. I've worked with kids for a while. I've worked with adults. I just really like working with kids. I think kids are our future, and just being able to meet them where they are and help them they're really going to be what makes the decisions in this world, and where our kids and our grandkids. So working with kids has always been like a passion for me, just to kind of help shape the future.
Well, and I feel like you throw in social media and other aspects, and I think they're thrown so many more challenges than we were. I mean, you had the kids at school that might not have necessarily been the kindest to you, but it wasn't then being blasted all over Instagram or TikTok or whatever future, not with it social media piece that I don't know about, as we're on a podcast in other areas. I know those. But what's the other, the ghost one?
I joke that when I was a kid in Durant, where I grew up at, you only had to worry about me, like me being a problem for you. Now the kids have to worry about anyone in the world bothering them, messaging them, constant chatter from social media and everything. So it's just a different world. A lot of the times people say that it was harder when we were a kid, but I think it's harder for the kids nowadays, that all the access to social media and having to compare themselves to everybody of the world, not just in a small town.
What's your advice to parents when they start introducing social media within their households, or allowing social media in their households? I think they've been introduced to it by their peers.
I feel social media is almost, I wouldn't say mandatory, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable that every kid is going to be influenced by social media. So start an open conversation, talking to them, making it normal. Talk to them. Look at it with them. Make it an open space for them, not a secret. Because a lot of the times when you don't have those open conversations, kids will tend to sneak around and do things. So the more you can be open with a kid and talk to them about it, introduce things slowly, show them the positives, but also show them the negatives, it will make a huge difference.
Do you have in your brain that there's a magic age, or do you think each kid's different?
I think definitely each kid's different. Each household is different. Parental expectations are different. You may not want 6 and 7 year olds, but somebody else may allow it. There's also some apps that can help ensure that they are in a kid-friendly environment that you can. It's inevitable. They're going to get it at school at 7. They're going to get it at school.
I was about to say, you're breaking my heart. I have a little first grader, and I can't even imagine him scrolling on Instagram or Facebook. I even, like, when he looks at my phone, I'm like, nope, go do something else. And then I realize I need to be more cognizant of putting it away.
Yeah. Well, and he's going to see it at school because you may not allow it, but there's other first grade parents that are allowing it. I promise you there's first grade parents, the kids have a phone.
That blows my mind. That blows my mind.
Education is the key.
Education is key, letting them know the safe boundaries. If you're a parent and you recognize something where you think there's a red flag, how do you recommend people go about addressing that?
Well, it depends on the age, but education again is appropriate. I just had an experience with I supervise therapists. So a therapist, one of their clients was talking to what they thought was a 15-year-old. It was a 26-year-old. And so, just communicate, we talk to them about what could have happened, what that looked like, show them what sex trafficking and things look like, and just education. It's inevitable. These things are going to happen, but open conversations with your kids, letting them know what's out there, what to look for, it's the key.
Wow. Well, I mean, those types of stories just blow my mind and show me what road is in store for me for managing my children. And it's always a scary concept. You always hope you do it right as a parent. And I think I'm a personal big advocate of mental health. I've had one of my kids in play therapy in different modes. And you've told me, I'm going to pivot away from social media for a bit. You told me an interesting story about the pandemic and how in your practice you were able to help some of the younger kids. And I'd love to just share with people how you were able to do that. Under 8, under 10? Yeah, the under 8, under 10 population. How do you service those kids when the world shut down?
I mean, well, we had to figure it out. So we obviously kind of shifted and got to where we would do stand-up, dance, sing. We would mail packets to them so that they would have the same material that we have, so that we could reach them where they are, the kids. Anything like that would just make it active for them, because a lot of the times kids at the younger age, they are not just going to sit here and look at you and talk to you. They want to be entertained. Music, games. We've played games with kids simultaneously and talked while we did that. Whatever it took to get to the kid is what we will do.
I love it. And I think there's been a lot of things that we've learned as a company from some of your insights as how do you then help that kid that is in Durant, Oklahoma, and might not have an army of play therapists at their disposal. Like there's a way, and I think the innovation people are doing in that space is just phenomenal.
And also, as we pivot towards the future, we're going to have even more access to help people like that with some AI, machine learning, things like that, having a lot of different apps and things like that the kids will really want to engage in, that's really therapeutic.
So what brings your passion to youth mental health?
I think a lot of it has to do with when I was a kid, I didn't have, except for my teachers who were phenomenal, but I didn't have anybody that I could really go to and talk to. And so it's always been a passion of mine to be able to be there, and also where they want to talk to me. You know, sometimes we can, working with kids, if we're a little bit too stuffy or something like that, the kids, they're not going to want to engage. So trying to get on a kid's level, it's just always been a passion of mine to just be able to reach them where they are. And I'm really passionate about it. I think I will probably forever be a 13-year-old.
You know what? 13-year-olds have a lot of fun. I love that they can go from serious to silly, and you get some of the best insights driving around those preteens when they're in the car. I've got some nieces and nephews that age, and the things that come out of their mouth, I'm like, what? They blow my mind. You did mention something that I want to jump back to is the teachers. So teachers play such a pivotal role in students' life. And what advice do you have for a teacher if they notice a student struggling with their mental health?
Well, right now there's so many options available for the teacher. So obviously they would want to talk to the kid and just try to be there for them. A lot of the schools have access to mental health. DialCare is in a lot of schools, and that's a huge deal because the kids can be reached right when they need it. So a teacher is a front line. Like, okay, I can see this is going on. What do I need to do? Helping getting the message on. Talk to the parents. Sometimes it's good to talk to the parents. It depends on the situation, obviously. The school counselors, talk to them, see what resources are available, try to get the kids plugged into things.
So Farah, as we are looking to the future, how do you see telehealth playing a role in the behavioral health care space going forward?
Telehealth is here to stay, and it's only going to get better. When we started, telehealth was always around, but as COVID came, we all kind of pivoted, and it's just almost the norm to have telehealth. But with all the advancements in technology, AI, machine learning, we're going to be able to match a therapist and a client to whatever they need, whatever therapy modality. If they need CBT, EMDR, DBT, there's a ton of different modalities. The client is just going to be able to put in what their needs are, and then the system will just match them to the therapist that'll fit their needs culturally, socially, whatever it takes.
So speaking of matching someone to a therapist, it's definitely a personal relationship between you and your therapist. How do you recommend someone going about finding the right fit for them?
So therapy is like a relationship, a friendship. When you go on a date, you're not going to marry that person. Probably not. Maybe you just need
to find the one.
Yeah, just keep trying. So yes, you're going to be matched with a therapist you don't like, but you got to keep trying. Okay. You've got to keep going. The therapists all have different personalities. They have different things to bring to the table. Every time you go in with the thought that this is going to be the one. But if it's not, then especially with DialCare, you have the ability to continue to find another therapist, to find another provider that matches your needs. Keep trying, because there is one out there that will meet your needs, and it will be so life impactful.
Yeah, I do think the first therapist I worked with, I was like, you and I are not necessarily on the same page. And then get in with therapist number 2, and hey, we're an advocate. Everyone needs to talk to someone about something every now and again, or all the time, whatever's the best fit for you. And it's amazing you can feel that like click when you're talking to the right person. Just like dating, that's the right way to put it, where you're like, oh, we kissed a lot of frogs to find the husband.
Absolutely.
And now it's kind of the same thing, and it's not that the frogs were bad people or bad frogs. They just weren't
not
my
for you.
frog.
Yes, exactly. So. I am a firm believer that there is a therapist out there for everybody. But a lot of the times people give up after one because they think, oh, this wasn't for me. This wasn't the right thing for me. But there is a match for everybody.
Okay, that's good to know. So there is hope.
There is hope.
If you are not talking to a therapist you're clicking with, keep kissing frogs, right? Then we can definitely keep kissing your frogs. So when you look at kind of your role, so you obviously have a clientele base that you're working with therapists and doing your supervisorial role as well. What tips or what things do you do to help keep your own mental health in check as a professional in the space?
Well, I mean, first you have to set boundaries for yourself. Obviously, I have 2 amazing kids who are almost grown. I've almost survived 2 kids and made them healthy adults. I have an 18 and 16-year-old. I enjoy spending time with them. I also go to the gym almost every day. I know it's not completely obvious, but I do like to go to the gym every day. It's really important to find some passion to maintain your own mental health. I do some education. I like to listen to audiobooks to help me make sure I'm ready in the up and coming, whatever's going on. And I have a network of friends I talk to. Just got to keep yourself, not being able to get isolated and just totally focus on your job. You've got to have an outlet, whatever the outlet is.
I was about to say, and that's just good advice for any job that you have,
totally,
right? Don't stay tunnel vision and just the thing you're working on, making sure you're finding those types.
Turn it off at some point. Go find a passion.
Find a passion. Take a nap. Read a book,
watch TikTok, whatever it works for. Whatever your passion is, do it.
Though watch TikTok in moderation in front of your kids is what I think I learned earlier, is put down my cell phone and talk about what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
or watch it with them.
Yeah.
And say, wow, what do you think about this? Is this something we should scroll past? Would she watch? Why would not watch this? have an open dialogue with them.
I love it. Okay, well, I guess my cell phone is going to become more open to my children, which is a scary proposition to think about, but
inevitable.
As long as we're not watching some of the children, we're past like the Coco Melon sing-songy things in my house, which just makes me beyond happy.
I want to go back there.
Okay, so this is the difference if she has older kids and I have grade school kids.
Right.
I'm thankful to be out of the preschool lava dance, and you're like, oh, but it was so sweet. Can we go back?
Right.
Yes, at mental health for different chapters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Farah, what advice would you give to other therapists who are looking to add teletherapy into their scope of practice?
Well, I think it's important that everybody have an option for teletherapy because it enables you to reach people that you normally wouldn't, impact people that you wouldn't normally be able to impact, have a greater scope for yourself. Having an office, obviously, to put for your practice, invest in your education, make sure you have great technology, invest in your technology, and also make sure you set your boundaries. Make sure that your boundaries are set, that you are ready to be able to shift from work to home, because a lot of the times telehealth is done in the home setting. Prepare yourself to be able to impact just a lot more people. It's just really what a lot of people go into therapy for, is to be able to reach people, and telehealth is how you can reach more people.
How do you measure the outcomes or success of teletherapy that you're actually making improvements in someone's mental health?
So with teletherapy and traditional office-based therapy, the outcomes are measured the same. You have health questionnaires that you do. There's assessments, obviously client engagement if the clients continue to come back, and also their treatment plans, the patient reports, patient surveys, same thing. You can always measure success.
Okay. Do you ever feel like there are any flags with patients that teletherapy is not the right option and they should get back in person?
I haven't seen it, but I'm sure there are cases where people are not able to just do it remotely. Sometimes it might be a therapy match. More that teletherapy doesn't work for you. It may more be you need to find a therapist that you match with.
Right. So the personality doesn't get better through a computer screen or a phone.
Yeah.
And then what led you to DialCare? So I know we're very happy to have you as part of the team. She's one of our newer additions, kind of been with us for about a year, less than a year, somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah. So how's it been?
I really like DialCare. I think I was introduced through an associate who was letting me know that there was a need for a clinical director. And after I spoke with you and Jeremy and Janice and a few other people, I realized that we kind of align in the way we think and the client-centered approach. And I just think that DialCare and the parent company Carrington is good people. I think that from what I've seen, good people care about the people that they work with, and that's the kind of environment I like to be around.
I mean, you have to like the people you talk to day in, day out. You spend more time with people at work than you do sometimes with your own family, which is always a little bit disheartening, but when you work with people that you enjoy, it just makes it simple. Well, Farah, any last parting thoughts you want to share with us about the telehealth industry or mental health in general?
Well, get mental health. Everybody should be accessing mental health. Most people have some type of mental health access. If you don't, there's like community resources available. Talk to somebody. The world is hard. It's a hard world. Everybody should have somebody to talk to. And why not make it a therapist whose job is not to tell your secrets? You literally can tell a therapist anything, and you don't have to worry about where it's going. And you can get some solid advice. So I think everybody should have a therapist.
All right, so you
heard
that first from Farah. If you don't have a therapist, please go find one. DialCare has plenty in our network for you to choose from, a nice plethora of wonderful therapists at your disposal. And our tagline is mental health matters, let's talk about it. So this is just one of our first of many conversations around the topic of mental health. But please feel free to connect with myself or Farah on LinkedIn if you have any questions or want to discuss anything further. Please subscribe to our podcast. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcast needs.